Hey, Lee.
Yo, hi. I'm just typing
How you doing,
my
mate?
name here. Hi, Scott.
How are you, Lee? Good?
Yeah.
How you feeling?
What?
Hey, Hannah.
Hi, everybody.
How you feeling, Lee?
Well, tomorrow I have a surgeon scraping the inside of my eyeball, but otherwise I'm fine.
Okay. Well, good luck with that, mate. I hope you're not awake for that one.
They give me a mild anesthesia. He tells me I won't know a thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Otherwise, you got to keep your eye open while they plunge things into your eyeball.
No, that's like alien abduction stuff.
Hi, Lee. I'm Isabel.
Hi there.
Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
Isabel. Hey, Anna.
Hi, guys. Lee, were you in the last meeting? Did you get a chance to meet Isabel last time?
Yes, she attended.
Yes. Yep. Oh, you were absent. Well, this is Isabel, and she will be taking over.
Yes.
As the
And
DPW
congratulations
admin.
to your position.
So I won't be far away.
Yeah.
So Hannah, you become office manager, is that correct?
No, so that's still Kay. And then I have become, it's called an S2, so I'm an office administrator. So I'm focusing more on the accounting side instead of front of the office.
Okay. So is Kay still there?
Kay is still there, yes. So as well as Vanessa. And we did lose one, but gained a really great one, which is Isabel. So
Okay, good. Good,
yeah.
good.
Hi, Fran.
Fran is here. I don't see Alan.
I don't see Alan.
Well, Barbara.
I can.
He's around. I know he'll log in. So my login for town is town committee, but there is a utility where you can change or rename your position. Scott, that's what I was doing when I first logged in.
Was it?
Changing my name from town committee to my real name.
Okay, Lee, I see it.
Yeah, because I log in, there's Alan. Because I log in, when I'm doing town videos, I log in with the town sign-in, which is town committee 1.
Okay.
Right, which you should be using your own, but that's okay.
No, it's only for roads and right of way. I don't do it for any personal business.
Good. All right. Alan, you there?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
Let me,
Camera.
We're here. There he
Very good.
is.
There you are.
Where's Barbara?
Alan, do you know if Barbara is here?
I don't. I remember there was some doubt that she was traveling somewhere or doing something. But I don't know for sure.
You give her a call.
So did I miss the discussion about the Zoom meetings and who sets those up and those come
No,
from you, either Hannah or Isabel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Because I try to post the meeting about a week before, so on the Wednesday, prior to. So
I'm gonna have Isabel take a look into seeing if there can be a repeated meeting. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I quiet?
I can
yeah,
hear
no,
you.
you're fine.
And see if we can have it be a repeated meeting. So then it will just be the same Zoom link every single time. So we'll take a look into that.
Erica can do that for you, moving it to recurring meeting on the Zoom sign-in.
Yes, I think I can do that too. I just did it before. Oops, sorry.
Hi, Barbara. Are you coming to the?
I just did that for the tree advisory committee. So that's what they're set up with right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're waiting for you.
So who's Mr. Bark?
Okay, see you in a minute.
That'd be Hannah's
Bye-bye.
dog, I imagine.
Barbara is trying to log in and expects to be with us in a minute.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. Mr. Barkley, I don't think I can understand.
I heard Mr. Bark bark.
Oh, Mr. Bark, that is my dog, Miss Bobby.
Miss Bobby, okay.
Bobby, yes.
It's like Mr. Hannah, right?
Exactly. It's all confusing over here. Oh, that's funny that you mentioned that.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember that quite vividly. Because, so. Okay, I see it's 3 o'clock. And let me call the meeting of the Nantucket Cemetery Commission to order for Wednesday, March 10th.
Did we know if Barbara's going to be joining us?
I just talked to her. She was having some difficulty logging in, but expects to be with us in a minute.
Okay, I'll keep watch.
All right.
Thank you.
So, let's see where to start.
Here she is.
Since there's no public attending, it would be any commissioner comments for items not on the agenda.
Right. Do we have any commissioner comments? I have one. I got a call from Jack Weinhold. He's out in California where he's been holed up for the winter, he and Mary Beth. And he called asking about green burials. And he directed me to a site, Green Burials, Massachusetts. And so I talked with him for a while yesterday. And I went to that website to see it. I told him that we had talked about it as a commission some time ago. So anyway, there is some interest in the community, I guess, or at least on the part of Jack and Mary Beth as far as green burials.
Alan, my recollection is that Rob McNeil was entirely in favor because he said no matter what we use for a casket, at some time in the future, and it could be 1,000 years, it will decay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we may as well just start right off. I've not been terribly favorable because bone is hydroxyapatite, which is basically a calcium phosphate. And so we are little bundles of phosphorus, which, as we know, is not good for the water. Rob says, hey, whether you go into the water now or whether you go into the water when the container rots out, doesn't much matter.
Right.
So that's about where we were when we didn't do anything, because doing something will require a change in the regulation.
It will. And Board of Health, I'm sure would be interested. And
Yeah, we take a public hearing.
yeah, exactly. One of the I found an article in Forbes magazine, and it was about green burials, and they claim that 300,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide are emitted by the dead through cremation and whatever. And,
Is that a fun fact?
well, I thought it was pretty interesting because that's a lot of metric tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and particularly given global warming and all that sort of thing. And also in that article, it said traditional burials require over 4 million gallons of embalming fluids are released into the ground every year for the non-green burials. So, and they also mentioned that over 50% of cremations are burials or cremations today, and they expect it to reach 78% by 2040. So again, something to think about. I told Jack that I would mention it today under public comment and or under comment. So we'll we'll maybe do some more research and find out what, if anything, would would be required to do that. So, welcome, Barbara.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
That's
I'm
okay.
having computer issues, and so I'm on Mark's desktop, and he didn't have Zoom on it, so I had to
Oh no!
panic.
How can
Here I
you
am.
have Zoom?
He doesn't use this computer very often. He uses his iPad.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So I declare we have a quorum present, and the minutes from our February 10th meeting were circulated last month. Any corrections, errors, omissions, anything like that? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll move to approve.
Second thought.
Okay, Scotty and Fran. All in favor, and I'll do roll call. Lee,
Aye.
Scotty,
Aye.
Fran,
Aye.
Barbara,
I
and chair votes aye. Okay, Hannah, do we have some approvals?
Yes, you just have one. I sent that one over. It's the Ken Phillips.
Oh, that's right. That's that kind of weird one that
Yeah.
nobody knew.
No one knew how it came about, but
Right, yeah.
yes. So let's see. Let me
It-
pull it.
It's next to the other Phillips one. Yeah, I think, yeah, I remember that. I talked with him. I had a phone number, I think, on the application and so on. So I called him to find out who he was. And he's related to the other Phillips one that we sold in whatever the number was. So, okay, so we have another application for Pulpus for whatever lot number. I think it's E11 maybe.
I think it's I have it here as E21.
Oh, E21, okay.
And Alan, what's the name?
Hannah, can you repeat?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading these emails, just making sure this was all correct.
Sure.
His name is Ken Phillips.
Ken, as in Kenneth?
Yes, but I think it is just Ken, Ken.
Okay, Phillips can be multitudes of L's and P's.
It is PHILLIPS. So the standard spelling.
And it was lot E21? Did you?
E21, yes. In December, you sold E20 to William Phillips.
Right.
And this is the second. This is the second one. I believe they're relatives.
Good. Okay, so let's say, I guess we have to approve this, right? So I need a motion to approve the.
I'll move to approve.
Happy to second.
Okay. Several seconds.
I'll second it.
Jumping all over you.
All right, again, I'll call the roll. Lee,
Aye.
Scotty,
Aye.
Fran,
Aye.
and Barbara.
I
Chair votes aye, so unanimous.
So this is one of the first ones since that was all brought to our attention with the last one that they did. That everything goes through Nicole
I think we had one
and
in
they
January.
apply.
Too. I think we had one
They
in
what?
January. I think we had one in January too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so now they send the check after they hear about their approval. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
The system is working.
It's working.
So far, so good. So Isabel, have you seen the procedure that we follow whenever we sell a lot?
Yeah, Hannah's briefed me on that.
That's good. Good. Okay. Okay. The next item, Pulpus. It's been an interesting month out at Pulpus Cemetery. The DPW has been out there. They have cleared the brush.
I'm just in a Zoom, mate.
Yeah, they've cleared the brush from both the east side, abutting the Hicks property, and the north side of the cemetery. They really cleared it out. And surprise, surprise, we got or I didn't, but Ken Bogran got a call from the Hicks attorney saying, "What are you doing?" So I sent Ken a listing. Basically, I went through the minutes that I had in my computer going back to 2017. The initial contact, you may remember, Jeannie Hicks came to our meeting when we were still, meeting out at the DPW. And that was at that point that we discussed the possible transfer of land to clear their encroachment and their setbacks and all that sort of thing. That was in June of 2015. I went through the minutes then from 2017, looking at the discussion of Pulpus relating to the Hicks transfer, and there were quite a few of them. I think virtually every meeting from 2017, 2018, and 2019, we talked about the Hicks and the transfer and what wasn't happening and so on. And so I sent all that to Rob. I sent it to Ken Bogran, who's dealing with their attorney. And it was amazing to me how much time we have spent in this committee on that issue. I couldn't believe there must have been at least 24, if not more, references in our minutes from those periods. Good thing we have accurate minutes. Again, that's a real compliment, I think, to Lee and his ability to, capture the discussion. Yes, Lee.
I'm just following on the tradition that was set by Bob Gardner, because in June 2015, by the way, for Hannah and Isabel, the conference room to which Alan was referring was at the Alan helped me, the north end of the building, the end of the building closest to the entrance to the dump, which is now offices. But that was the conference room at the time.
Yes, I do. I've seen photos. I've seen it like that.
Okay, so Bob Gardner from the water company, he took good minutes as well.
Right. And fortunately, those minutes were all the minutes were really very accurate, very detailed, as far as our discussions, as far as our expressions of frustration that things weren't going as planned. Yes, Barbara?
It's just, I'm surprised they're surprised, because we marked those trees with pretty bright orange X's around a year ago. I think it was last January, a year ago, January. So they must have had some hint.
Oh, they knew darn well. In fact, I had mentioned to Mr. Hicks, I was out there at the cemetery at one point, and he was out piddling around. So I approached him, or actually I stayed on cemetery property, and he came over, and I explained to him, this was before we had even marked the trees. And I said that, look, we're going to be clearing this area. We're going to have the DPW in, we're going to mark the trees and basically take out all the brush. So they were well aware of this, and that was over, that was almost 2 years ago. So no, there should have been no surprise. They knew what we were doing. I got a call a week ago, no, yeah, it was sometime 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday from Mo from the DPW. And he said he was out at the cemetery and could I come out and take a, and just kind of go over what we're, want to do. So I did a quick jump in my car, went out to the cemetery, met with Mo and his crew, explained, look, basically, here's the brush. We want all the brush out of here, right down to the property line here. And I had marked the back line, the north line, with surveyor tape. And so I said, look, we're planning to do additional burial plots. And, so anyway, they were well aware of the fact that what we were doing. Apparently she had a bit of a hissy fit, called, I think she called Rob. I'm not sure if she called Rob first or Ken Bogrand first.
You got a hold of Isabel first.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Poor
Isabel.
Isabel. Sorry, we've been dealing with it for 5 years.
I know. What, was she pleasant on the phone?
I plead the fifth. She was fine. I think she was just upset about what was going on. So
Yeah,
it was
right.
handled.
Should have done the land swap.
Yeah, I know. She gave specific directions to her attorney not to, that she didn't want to talk to me, period. And she recommended to Ken to keep me out of the loop. So I told Ken, I said, well, wait a minute. Now I'm chairman of this committee. I speak for. So
You are the loop.
Yeah.
So it gives you an idea of where they're coming from. So anyway, I spoke with Ken this morning. Ken couldn't attend today because he's doing something out at where the road washed away out at Matticat. So he's having a meeting this afternoon at 4, I think, with Rob and with town manager, and they're trying to negotiate a way to get into that property where the road was eroded. So I spoke with Ken this morning. He wants to meet with me tomorrow at noon. We're going to meet at the corner table across the way from his office there. And he's going to bring me up to date on whatever conversations he's had with the Hicks or with the Hicks attorney and so on. He implied that the Hicks were now ready to negotiate. So I said, well, look, let's meet, let's have lunch. And so I'm going to meet with him tomorrow, have coffee with him in the morning, and we're going to discuss the situation here and see where we go from here. So I was out there yesterday at the cemetery, picked up, there's some trash that was revealed with the cutting and so on. So I picked up the trash around there. Someone had left some stuffed dolls. They were in pretty bad shape. So anyway, I collected all that sort of stuff and took a close look at the work. It does need some more tidying up. There's still some brush on the ground and things like that. They did not put the fence up. My understanding is that after they cut the brush, Mo and his crew were going to put the fence up along the north boundary and the east boundary against the Hicks property. So apparently they're holding off. I did check to see those Andromeda that they had planted on our property along with the grasses that they planted up there. They have been tending those. The grasses were nicely trimmed, so their landscaper has been working on those. And they're well aware that those are on cemetery property as well. So anyway, that's the latest on Pulpus. And, we'll find out tomorrow from Ken, what his thinking is about, what's going on out there. So,
Ellen, I think I've driven by there and I think it looks great, what's been done there.
mhm,
And even Neil and I were driving out to a job and we were thinking, and something you might want to consider is probably looking a little bit too far ahead, but when you lay out those plots down towards the Hicks property,
mhm,
we might want to consider the layout of the stones facing the opposite direction as that grade changes.
correct.
That's just an idea we had.
Yeah,
But,
no, I agree. I was looking at the same thing myself, and I was looking at how those lots should be laid out. And I think we can do pretty much a straight line. There is sort of a curve to the ground there. And I thought, well, maybe we could do lots along that curve, but that gets to be a problem, I think, as far as the survey, laying out the lots and so on. So anyway, that's something that I think that's the next step. Once we get the area cleaned up a bit more, I'm planning to go out with my rake and a pair of loppers and just sort of, clean up a little bit more out there. And I think we'll have a pretty good idea.
When are you planning to do that? When are you
I'm not sure. I think it depends on the weather. I think I'm going to aim for either Friday or this weekend sometime. I'm doing a walk on
If you do
Saturday.
it on the weekend, I would be delighted to come out and help out. Just as an excuse to go out and do something useful.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's, yeah. Scotty?
does anyone have any appetite to engage with the Hicks? Or are we just going to move forward doing what we're doing?
Well, in a sense, Ken Bogrand is the one who is engaged through their attorney. And depending on, he said he would have more information tomorrow. He was going to call, what's his name? Rick Bodette. He was going to call him this morning sometime, chat with him. And then, as I said, I'm going to meet with Ken tomorrow at noon. So, but we'll see. We'll see what they have in mind. I'm not optimistic by any stretch, particularly after reading all our comments over the last 6 years that we've been discussing this item. So anyway, Fran, if I do go out on the weekend, I'll give you a call before I go. I'm doing a walk Saturday morning, so it won't be in the morning. It'll be sometime in the afternoon if I do it on Saturday. So
I just like an excuse to do something useful outdoors.
well, that's what I do. I mean, I try to visit each one of the cemeteries at least once a month. And some of them, like Pulpus, I've been out there, I think 4 or 5 times so far this last month.
Also, since Scotty has been there and seen how it looks since brush cutting.
Yes.
I feel like, okay, we've got 2 of the commissioners have had a look at it. I should have a look at it too. And then someday Barbara should go by.
Barbara, you're going to love it.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I was out there, God, it must have been a couple of weeks ago. And I had pulled off into the parking area. I was up in the cemetery, and then as I was coming down, and Neil Patterson was coming by, and he stopped in his truck. So we were chatting, about some other, some land bank issues and so on. But we chatted a little bit about the cemetery as well. So it's amazing. While we were out there, while Neil and I were out there, 2 land bank commissioners, a Jeep pulled over behind the 2 vehicles that we had there, and they hailed us. And he said, we're looking for this new path out off of Almanac Pond Road. And he said, gee, we drove down Almanac Pond Road to past the last house, and we couldn't find it. So here we had two, the chair and the vice chair of the Land Bank Commission. So we directed him to the appropriate spot. So, by the way, if you haven't been out there, it's a beautiful.
I haven't. I will need directions.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't entirely sure where to go to park. So,
Well, what you do is you go down Almanac Pond Road, which is the first right after the cemetery, and you go past the last house, which has, there's a barn and stuff like
yeah,
that.
no,
So you just keep going, and you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a land bank sign, and there's a couple of parking spaces there.
okay, that shouldn't be hard. I just
No.
didn't know where to go.
Now it's a marvelous trail. The new trail that they put in, I've got to say, it's become one of my favorite properties because now we can do loops and stuff like that in there. So
I told you were a loop.
yeah, right. Okay, so anything else on Pulpus? Anything that I should?
Ellen, you've got number 7 also to be a Pulpus issue.
Oh.
Shall we say that we've consolidated 4 and 7 into one agenda item?
Oh, all right, let's do that. Then let's skip up to number 7. The layout of lots at Pulpus. So far, we have sold, oh God. I've forgotten the number now. But it's somewhere close to 100 lots in Pulpus Cemetery. And we're down to, I believe we have 33 or 34 lots remaining.
We have 38.
38?
I think it's 38
That-
after this
yeah.
recent sale, yeah.
Okay. Then, so I think that the next step, particularly now that we have the ground cleared, the next logical thing to do would be to extend the rows that we have, rows, let's see, A, B, C through whatever they are, to extend those to the north onto our property. We started the rows at number 9. So for example, we go from C9 to C29. And same with all the other ones. So what I would propose we do is lay out an additional 8 lots, and I pasted off when I was out there yesterday to see how much room we have over to our current boundary on the north side, and we can, I believe, easily lay out 10. Oh yeah, that's the one. So. The 10 lots.
This is C.
Right.
Does everyone have their email open? I can send over something similar.
Yeah, sure. Let me get my list here. Okay, yeah, underneath the so we have lots C, D, E, F, and G, all of which could be extended to the north. So that would give us, say, 5 times 10. That would give us an additional 50 lots. And so that would sort of cover us, I think, for the immediate future anyway. I don't anticipate there'll be a big rush on lots, but
You never know.
you never know. I know exactly. And while we're doing that, then I think what we should do is take a look at the land that we've cleared to the east of the cemetery, and to lay out, or at least think about, conceptualize where on that ground, because it does slope down, it does sort of curve, and the slope isn't all that much different than the slope where we already have the lots we've laid out. So I think that would be the next thing to do, is to first lay out those additional 50 lots at the end of C through G, and then take a look at the newly cleared land and see what makes sense out there, the next area that we want to develop as the cemetery. Yes, Scotty?
Would that be a field trip for all of us? And then we kind of decide together, or just go with what you think we should do?
I'm always in favor of doing a field trip. I think that's a good way, because we can be together. It's easy enough to simply post a meeting, that we're going to have a field trip. We're going to meet at the cemetery, and anybody who wants to show up, I suppose, the public can attend, as long as they're socially distant. Maybe Mrs. Six will come over. One of the requests that she had through her attorney was she wanted to know how close to their lot line we were going to lay out burial plots. So I told Ken, I said, well, that's undetermined at this point, but
That's where we're putting the mausoleum.
yeah.
You're bad.
So anyway, that would be interesting. Maybe I should have Ken Bogran talk to their attorney and tell him we're going to be out there. No, I guess that would be too. So anyway.
You have a time when we might do that?
I haven't. I've got to talk with, there are two people that might be able to assist us. I want to try the water company first. I know they're quite busy because of all the hookups they're doing for water out at Glowackyville and all the other. It's incredible. It's incredible. There are, I forget how many hundred applications we have for new dwelling permits for water and stuff like that. But
How are we going to treat all the wastewater from that?
well, that's the thing. Imagine the traffic. I went to the finance committee meeting on Monday, where they were discussing the affordable housing proposals, and Tucker Holland was there, and he had this plot of what they're doing. In the next 5 years, they have 566 dwelling units. That includes condominiums, single family houses, and that's, you name it. I don't know what percentage of those is going to be affordable, but 566 units already on the drawing board for new dwellings. When you think about the fact that each one of those dwelling units will have at least one car, if not 3 or 4.
I was actually thinking about toilet flushes.
Well, yeah, the water company's been thinking about that too. I mean, we have all sorts of things that we have to keep track of. And one of the things is to keep track of what's projected as far as the water hookups that we have, because, there's only, we've only got 2 million gallons out at North Pasture, another 1 million gallons usable out at the standpipe. And we're planning to build a new water tower. So it's scary. I mean, it really is scary. The other
You
group
should.
I attended was the Coastal Erosion group. There have been two recent meetings in the last week or so about coastal erosion. And when you add that all in with the new dwellings and with the, what's going on, it looks pretty scary.
Yes.
I mean,
All right, I think we gotta wrap this back into cemetery.
I mean, oh, really? Thank you, Hannah. Thank you. Okay, so anyway, that's the plan for new lots at Pulpus. So the two things I want to do, I want to check with the water company to see when, what their availability would be as far as laying out, assisting us in laying out the lots. We do need to order new toe markers, and we'll have to identify what numbers we need on the toe markers. And we'll also need some corner markers to go for those 50 lots. And we may, when we're putting that order in, we may want to order additional ones. Well, no, let's just focus on one thing at a time. The other person I want to check with is Joe Marklinger. He's a local surveyor, and he's now doing some work for the land bank. He's a top-notch surveyor. And if the water company is not available to help, then I'll approach Joe and see if he would be willing to take that on. Yes, Scotty?
Because the water company is always going to be busy. Because I remember we were talking about how busy they were 5 years ago.
I do.
Doing surveys. Yeah. So it may have to go that route.
I do have an email here from Rob that was sent to both Ken and I. So I think Rob is also looking into some surveyors as well. So to give you guys some options, he said DPW is moving forward with proposals to have our cemetery surveyed, because we might have to put out a bid again. I think we talked about that the last meeting, where you can't just choose someone for a job like that. Right. So we might have to.
Okay. Now we have two different kind of surveys that we're doing.
Yeah.
One is the boundary, the layout of new lots, and then the survey of the stones.
Right. Yep. Would that be under cataloging? That's what he said. He said for property determination as well as monument location and cataloging.
Yeah, I think the monument logging and cataloging, that's to determine the condition of the stones in each of the cemeteries.
Okay, perfect. Yep. I remember that. That's all coming back. Great.
Right. Good. So those would be two big projects. I'm hoping that we can lay out some new lots. A lot of the holdup, of course, has been this COVID thing that we've all been enduring. So I'll have more information from the water company, and as I say, I'll give a call to Joe Marklinger, and then we'll see what Rob so we'll get. My goal is to have the new lots laid out sometime before this coming winter, probably in the fall, because I know how busy summers can be, but you never know. I mean, sometimes people get an opening and, they're available and we can go do something. Yes, Lee?
Yeah, Ellen, I'm following along. One, can you give us a note after you learn from Ken what's up?
I will.
Two, when you've got in contact with the water company and Joe, let's look at some suggested dates for a field trip. And then longer term, I like the idea of laying out lots to the north, because we will always control that land.
Correct.
In the eventuality, I know you're not thinking positively about this, but in the eventuality that there's a land swap, we don't want to get too married to a layout against that boundary, because we might be losing some of that.
I agree. And by the way, I tend to think of myself as being an optimist in terms of, the best thing working out. I find that usually that's the case, that, if with enough patience and whatever.
Alan, I've been editing your pessimism so it doesn't show up too loudly.
I see. Great. Well, I know. All right. So no, I agree. Before we lay out any lots to the east, butting the Hicks, we'll definitely have a resolution there
Yeah.
before we do any lots in that section. So, and as I say, I think if we do an additional 50 lots, that will, that will give us plenty to work with for the next couple of years anyway. So, okay. Anything else on Pulpus Cemetery? All right, let's jump back to number 5, the bench and tree at Maya Comet. I think I got an email from someone, maybe it was Rob, saying that, or maybe it was you, Hannah, I forgot who.
I don't think it was me. But the bench has been moved to the side of the monument.
Oh, it has.
It was moved last evening. It was moved. We can't move it any further than the side for right now. Ken sent me an email on Tuesday, yesterday.
Mhm.
He went to, he got in touch with the Plus department, who sent over some of the plots, and conveniently that little triangle of land where the monument and the bench and the tree are all located
Mhm.
at the moment is unidentified ownership. So there is previously some of the land was owned by the Nantucket Housing Authority on one plot, and then the other owned on the town of Nantucket. But yes, but this little parcel is not included on either one of the two others. So we're still looking. So we
Right.
can't really move it completely until we can identify that. But it has
Okay.
been moved from the front of the monument, so it's not blocking it anymore.
Excellent. And that, that's great. That's a good
So
one.
my question to Hannah, because I followed what she said, that would suggest that the GIS label, and I'm told the GIS is not impeccable.
It
is not
can definitely
absolutely
have
accurate.
some
The
hiccups.
GIS label is probably inaccurate because it
Right.
says Station Pass Association.
Right. I would say that's why there's obviously has to be some new information. So yes, parcel 67 is owned by the Stations Path Homeowners Association, which was then previously owned by the Nantucket Housing Authority, as I said, and/or owned by the town of Nantucket. There are no separate files for either of those parcels, but for the file on the NHA parcel. So it's not on file under either one of those, but
Is the cemetery on file?
he did not look it up, but I do believe that we know for certain that that's town owned.
Right. I remember back when the town was going to do housing back there, and they had to do an archaeological study before they could do the housing, and that's when they found artifacts there. And Fran, you probably remember better than I do, because that was maybe 30 years ago, or no, it was even longer than that, I believe.
It was while I was in Texas. But when they
Wow.
went forward and began to build housing was when they uncovered graves and had to
Exactly.
stop. The original, I'm pretty sure the original archaeological survey that said, okay, you can go ahead and build there, had missed
Right.
the fact that,
Yeah.
so there was some dissatisfaction with the firm that had done the survey and given them the green light.
Exactly. Yeah.
May I ask, about the cemetery, I received a call last week, and the caller believed that the memorial bench had originally been located elsewhere on the bike path and then had been moved to where it was. But the caller didn't know that for sure and said the only person who could enlighten us, or the only entity, would be the DPW.
Right.
If they go back in their records, if they can find out whether the bench was originally installed where it was till yesterday, or whether in fact it was installed somewhere else and then relocated.
Right. So that's one of our biggest issues, is that we don't have any documentation prove or showing anything about the bench. So that's one of our issues, is that we can't find out who the bench belongs to. So if it was us, we need to do some deep digging and find out. So there, at this time, there's no proof or no proof, to say the least, that it was in a different location and then moved somewhere else.
Thank you for looking into it.
Yeah.
So far, there have been 4 different individuals who have contacted me. The original person in November, whom I said, let us take care of it. Then Lee and Rookie, and now the caller of last week. So we know that there are at least 4 different individuals besides us who have an ongoing concern about this. So we can say to anybody who contacts us going forward, the bench has been moved away from in front of the monument until we can figure out what else to do about it. And thanks to Scotty, we know that as soon as the weather is correct, they will fill in the lettering on the monument with white monument paint, but we
That's
can't
great.
do it while it's this cold.
Yes.
I'm anticipating the end of the month, early April for that, Fran.
That's
So
great news.
I think if anybody gets in touch with us and is still uncomfortable, distressed, or angry about this, we can show them that we are making progress, that we said we will do something about this, and in fact we have, and we will continue to.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I know it does seem like, an interesting situation, because you have, the site of the Maya Comet Village going back to the 17, was it 17?
The epidemic was 1763, 64.
Yeah, exactly. And so then you have, the town must have owned that land, because that's where Benjamin Drive comes in, and the affordable housing. I think it was when they were
Very
digging,
high, sleep.
when they were digging the foundation.
Not too bad. We're all packed. Not too bad. We're all packed in the car, clocks are in the car.
When they were digging the foundation for one of those Benjamin Drive houses, that they found the remains. And that's when all of a sudden the project screeched to a halt. They would have had to have redone an archaeological study when they did Sachem's Path as well. That would have been a state requirement. So just as when they put in Sherburne Commons, they had to do one on the land bank strip that runs adjacent to that property. So an interesting land use situation there, but I'm sure we can find a place to put that bench. I mean, the bench, can go somewhere, even if it was anyway. We'll let the
We'll work on it.
we'll let the DPW worry about where we're going to put the bench. Okay, so The bench. Oh, and the Maya Comet Burial Ground. Oh, wait a minute.
I think you got everything.
I
Yep,
think
yep.
so. Okay.
Quays.
The bench and tree at Maya Comet. Oh, and the Surfside entrance, right. Because that, I went in the other day in Benjamin Drive, because you can pull in there and park where you can't really park anywhere on Surfside Road, unless you pull into somebody's driveway on the other side of the road there. So I went in Benjamin Drive, and the entrance, the entrance to the cemetery, to the Maya Comet Burial Ground, is really behind where the rock is. There's that gate that opens, and if they were going to take mowers in, I would assume that's how they would get in there. There is a gate over on the Benjamin, the other side of it. But it's as far as an entrance to the cemetery, I think where we place the stone is, anyone who wants to go visit the cemetery. And I know Tim Lepre does, or at least used to take groups in there because of his interest in the Wampanoag population. And that's one of the places where I've seen him with a group of 10 or 12 people. They apparently bike down the bike path and stop there. So, okay, so.
Alan, I apologize. While I'm getting my eyes fixed, I'm also bringing some antique clocks onto the Cape. And the clockmaker called me. That's what that phone call was about. Just to arrange a pickup.
Right.
Did I miss anything for those 30 or 40 seconds?
I don't believe so. No, we're just talking a bit about the history of Maya Comet and the original development proposal and so on. So,
okay.
Yeah. Quays Monument. Any updates?
As with the weather for the painting of the rock, we are waiting for decent weather to engrave the stone. The stone is all ready to be engraved. I imagine it will be done in the next week or so. It will definitely be done by our next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So in that time, what do you want to think about as far as any press or like announcing what we're doing? I don't imagine it would be installed by that time, but maybe we can talk about it at the next meeting. And then for the meeting after that, we can have our plan and it'll be installed and unveiled.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I think at our, let's say this is April, at our April meeting, I'll have that on the agenda and we can discuss what we want to do. We definitely want to notify the newspaper, whatever other sources, probably the NHA, let them know, what we're doing. And I've been in touch with the Conservation Foundation. So the next step will be to get the signs in place. And again, I think once we get the stone in place first, then we can we'll get Ray to do signs, and then we can plan the rededication. I think that's what it would be, a rededication or a dedication of the monument.
A rededication of the cemetery.
Yeah, well, we had such a lovely dedication ceremony when we, with the initial go round with that. I mean, it was really such a lovely ceremony and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, I think the rededication, or at least say the dedication of the memorial stone itself. So
if we think about this, and it is entirely appropriate
Mhm.
but we're spending a lot of time and effort on, Fran, help me out, 13 or 14 impoverished people.
Mhm.
It's the 10 who died in the fire plus the limited number who've been buried previously.
Right.
I think it's a good thing.
Oh, I do too. I mean, I think that that's, you know, of all the different things that I do in the town, the cemetery stuff, I think is the most interesting. I think I probably mentioned before the thing I'm most proud of all the monuments that we put up is the women's monument up in Founders.
Yeah.
So,
Well, one thing is that now we do have another story that we can tell at this,
mhm.
because, you know, we talked about the people who died in the fire, and that one woman had rescued her child and gone back into the fire and didn't survive. But since then, we've found out about Phoebe Lovelace, who rescued a large number of people from the fire and lived to tell about it. So we do have a new story to tell.
Mhm.
That's good.
It is good.
So, good. All right. So that's, so in terms of the what's before us then, as we covered, laying out new lots at Pulpus, doing a survey of the existing monuments in all of the town cemeteries. What was there was a third thing. Well, in addition, there are, you know, individual things at different cemeteries. For example, not Founders, the Historic Haunted Cemetery, the fencing. We want to redo the fencing there, a little bit more brush removal, things like that. I have a sort of a list of projects that you know, we're sort of inching forward on for each of those. And I think, you know, I've got to say, I think when I look at the cemetery commission from when we started, when we had no burial space in any of the 8 town cemeteries, and I look at where we are now, in terms of what we've done in each of the cemeteries, the bulb planting that we've done, the improvements that we've done as far as the brush clearing, some of the fencing that's been redone, and the other things we have in store. And of course, the replacing those wooden signs with the glacial erratics. You know, I think we've come a long way. I won't say in a short time because it seems like it's been forever, but you know, I think we're definitely on the right track. We have a plan. We have some projects, and we're on our way. So let's see, Pulpus, we did. Plan. Oh, Scotty, any update on the survey? You know, the survey, the monument survey.
There's 2 things. Hannah, in the last meeting, Rob said he was going into a meeting the next day, and he was going to ask somebody about the procedure on procuring a bidder.
Yes.
Did he get any forward on that?
If he did, he has not shared with me, but I can send him a follow-up email. I'll do
All
that
right.
this afternoon.
That's okay, because he and I have been emailing, and we have a Zoom lined up for Monday with a potential company that might be doing this.
Okay, that's great.
So I would imagine by next meeting, that we will have a clear picture of how it's going to work. And the people who will be invited to bid on it.
All right, yeah. That's
But yeah, so Monday we have a Zoom meeting with a restoration company.
great.
Excellent.
For
Excellent.
them.
Good.
So yeah, so Robin has been going back and forth with me about that.
Good.
So that's where we are.
So Isabel, what do you think so far?
Taking it all in. There's a lot to learn, and I'll get there.
Well, the most important thing at least from my point of view, is the record keeping. I mean, one of the things that we inherited uh, was kind of a ramshackle. Fortunately, we had Georgian Charnes, who was one of the initial members of the Cemetery Commission, and she was the archivist or something like that for the NHA, and she had done yeoman duty as far as recording, who's buried in which cemeteries and all that sort of stuff. So the record keeping that we've done, the only new burials we've done since we were formed, we did 2 burials up in the historic Colored Cemetery, and all the rest of them have been in Pulpus Cemetery.
What
Oh,
about
no, that's right. We did New North with George
North.
Folks. That's right. I forgot about George. So, and that was pretty scary. The only way we found out where his plot was we had a piece of a map and we managed to track it down from there. So anyway,
Oh, wow.
so the record keeping is very important. So for future generations, when none of us are around to straighten it out. Okay, is there anything else?
Helen, just a piece of homework to Isabel.
Mhm.
Go on the research portion of the NHA website. It's nha.org.
Okay.
And research and then cemeteries, because there is a fantastic amount of information that we've used over and over again to find or identify plots. And the bulk of that was transcribed by Georgianne, and it's the Lewis Funeral Home records. Fran, Alan, how many generations of Lewis's contributed to that? 4, 5?
I forget. I think it was 4.
Okay, so it goes from the early to mid 19th century up till about 1970 or 80.
Oh,
And
wow.
of course, then it's our task to make sure that we keep everything moving forward from there. But it's a fascinating bit of homework. And you could do it at work and say, hey, I'm doing this for the Cemetery Commission.
Okay, I will. Thank you for sharing. I'll definitely look into that. That will be
Yeah.
helpful.
Okay, is there anything else to come before the commission this afternoon?
Well, I do believe this might be my final meeting with you all until Isabel needs to take a vacation, and then I'll jump back in. But yes, please feel free to continue emailing me so that I can help her with any questions that you guys have moving forward. But I do believe this is where I sign off for a little while.
Well,
Thank you,
for your
Hannah.
Thanks for
help.
everything, Hannah.
Absolutely.
It's been great
a
working with you.
pleasure. It really is.
Isabel, we look forward to working with you.
Oh, me too.
Got it.
Don't let them
Oh,
believe
Hannah.
Yeah.
You know what this is?
I can't see you, Lee.
It's a round of applause.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you for all the keeping us on track and that sort of thing. So, and be sure to teach Isabel everything you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been great.
Great. Okay, I declare then that we are at the end of our agenda and that the meeting is adjourned.
All right.
Bye,
Thank you,
Hannah.
everybody.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. I'll
ya.
see you soon. Have a great
Okay.
afternoon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
See you
everyone.
guys.